piece, I want to show the process of taking it out of Maya, okay, because everything so far is pretty much the same that we've done before. You're modeling stuff, you're laying out the UVs, you're texturing it in Mari, and then you're animating the object. Eventually you're going to have to go through and bring it into After Effects. So I want to show, this part isn't required, but I still want to show the process of taking stuff out of Maya and bringing it into After Effects so that you can actually animate stuff from Maya right inside After Effects. All right. So I'm going to switch to 2016. There it is. And just for the fun of it, I use this thing. Okay. So under here, there should be. Where is it? Right. Oops. Come on. Under Create, there's a Send to After Effects. Okay. So this is a new thing to 2016. Version 2. And before, this was a horrible process that we had to endure to try to get anything out of Maya into After Effects that we can use it, like actual 3D information. So I'm going to send this to After Effects, and I'm getting an error. Why am I getting an error? Oh, no object.
Certain our break apart. Exploded view, whatever thing.
What?
It's
Yes.
a certain amount of technical difficulty something has to have, looking at stuff. Not moving parts, but how, like you said, I know we can use textures for some of the super fine detail stuff.
Right. Well, you saw the one that Adam had. It was pretty simple in how it was set up.
Which
one? The other Adam. The BB-8
BB-8
that turns, and there's some stuff in there.
Simple one.
As far as what the inside was, he could have had anything on that circuit board. He could have had anything inside of it, right? It doesn't have to be something very specific or something elaborate. It just has to have something in there.
I'm just gonna do those stacking Russian dolls.
The what?
What are they called?
I don't know. Oh, the nesting dolls. Yeah.
I'll just do it.
Your instruction.
You are so lazy.
Hey, that's.
Lame. That's lame.
I like it.
I think that's what you're going to go
Thank you.
I think it's good. I want to see this animation.
You would like that. You're lame.
Why?
Wow.
Have you ever seen a nesting doll?
Yes.
See how many fit inside of that thing down there?
Being a brat.
All right.
People need instructionals to figure out how they work.
So I'm going to take this, and under File, I'm going to go Send to After Effects. There actually is, I don't have it loaded on here, I thought I did. But there is a Maya to After Effects plugin for Maya 2016. There we go.
Just if you are.
No skin off my nose. I'm there.
So if you have 2016.5, you can follow these instructions to see how to load the plugin so that you can actually take your stuff out of Maya and bring it into After Effects. So that's the instructions for loading the plugin right here. I thought it was loaded on mine, but it's not. I do, because it's pretty awesome. It's free, yeah. It is installed already on your computer. It's just not installed into the correct spot, and you just have to extract it and put it in there. So let's say I have these objects here, and I'm going to create some locators. All right, there we go. So I'm going to grab everything. Oops, I need to make a camera so it's animated. So I'm going to set a key here, go up to this, set a key there. There we go. Gorgeous. All right, so now I'm just going to grab all my stuff and export this to After Effects. So send to Adobe After Effects. Why does it say that? It doesn't say that. A file. Now it wants to work. So this is going to save it as a JSON file. So I'm going to say, just show this on my desktop for now. MayaToAe. All right, so for whatever reason, it wanted me to make a selection set first and then send it. I don't remember having to do that before, but that might be an update. So what it should be doing is when we go into After Effects now, it should be bringing the camera, and it should be bringing in all of these locators. And then all of these are not going to be going in there with it because they're geometry, and After Effects doesn't handle geometry. So the typical workflow is that you render your stuff out of here, and then you can take your stuff into After Effects to composite different things in it. So anywhere there's a locator is basically somewhere where I want something in After Effects to happen. So let's say I created a piece of text that I want to drop into my animation. Right there, that's what the locator is for. So just so you can see this super quick, I'm going to render this out. Nothing fancy. Arnold, no, just use Maya software for this. And 960 by 540, perfect. Actually, let's go half that so it goes quicker. 380. Oops, 480. There we go. And name.number extension. Alright, so this is going to go into there, good. And then we choose the right camera. The fastest I've ever seen a render. Is that done? Oh, I went to render sequence, batch render. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now After Effects should be opening. I'm going to get an error. It has to load all my plugins, and then it'll tell me that one's missing. And I can hit OK. There we go. All right, so now I should be able to go into my project window and load in that JSON file. Oh no, it's not there. Don't go to that file. I have to go over here to window, I believe it is. Create, did that thing. Window. No, my preferences got craft. Alright, let me do that real quick. Inside of here, nope, Maya, Autodesk. Hash. Here's the After Effects script. So then you just extract this to After Effects. And then that's what I have to copy into my After Effects installer. So many windows. Support files. It's script UI. Support files, there we go. Scripts. Oh, there it is. Script UI panels. Okay. Yeah, that should have been in there. Alright, so now that this is in here, then it'll let me import it into After Effects. And this is done rendering, so that's perfect. So now we should have our 120 frames. We should have our export from Maya, and then we should be able to bring these together inside of After Effects. How quickly that opens. So now I go to Window, and then I go down here to the bottom. There it is, Maya import. Import from the desktop. This.
Is this the plugin?
This is the plugin. This is this plugin. So CS or Maya has its own plugin too that you have to load. But this is the After Effects part of the plugin. So it's doing two things now. It's loading my color themes, which is going to take its time, and then it's importing this file in here. So I'm importing the Maya file, like the locator and the cameras in here, and then I'm also importing my sequence that I'll have to do in a second into this folder. And then I just put those two things together, and then I can actually move around After Effects basically inside my Maya camera. Okay, so I double click here, and it's thinking, there it is. So now if you look, you can see that's a After Effects camera. So if I import my sequence now, which is inside of Documents, Maya Projects, Default, Images, Untitled. Oops. And I brought one in. I need to bring the whole sequence in. There. Click this. Cool. All right. And obviously it's smaller, so I have to make it bigger. So I'm going to scale it 200. I also have to make sure this is the same frame rate. So like inside Maya here, my frame rate is 24 frames a second. So After Effects, I have to make sure I bring in my footage at 24 frames a second. Oops, extend this. There we go. So now everything should line up. Perfect. Cool. So now any one of these locators, this is what I had inside Maya. And then the spheres are all lined up with these planes. So if I turn that off, you can see how we have just these cards basically where the spheres were. So now I can take just anything, like if I make a piece of text, sphere 1. There we go. And I want to take this sphere and lock it into where one of these locators are so that it moves with it, you know, not just sits there. I'm going to go to a locator, so let's say this one. I'm going to go to the position, and I'm just going to copy its position. So I just click on this and hit Control-C. I go to this sphere. I make sure that it's a 3D layer by clicking this, and then I paste its position. Now it's going to come in huge. All of these are like super scaled down, so I just have to scale it. Not that much. There he goes. So now he's like locked onto that locator. So now when I hit play, you'll see that sphere 1 is now locked into that position. So that way if I wanted to do a call out, like in that BB-8 one, they had the little call outs that were pointing at things. I can do that very simply, because as my camera moves across, I want this to follow it. Or as an object moves, I want that to follow it. So if I animated anything inside of After Effects, you don't have to put labels on it. It just looks nice. If I animated any one of these, that would then want to come into here too, so that animation for this locator would come in with it.
So if you wanted, okay, so say sphere 1, if you wanted it to say it facing the right direction at the end of it, would you just type it at the end of it?
Like here, I wanted this to be rotated.
Yeah.
Then I would just rotate it here. Right? So that way, as it rewinds, it's just facing the other way. Okay. Now, because we also have the placeholders for all those other things, I can create basically just like a beam that connects them. Right? So I can go to, let's see, layer. Oops. Do that way or this way? This way.
Can you make that text 3D?
Yeah, maybe I can. On these computers, I don't think we can, because they're set up to be not using classic 3D, because you have to switch this to ray trace. And then once it is, then it's like fake 3D, but it's still 3D. I mean, it looks like it's 3D. It rotates, there's some thickness to it, and you can see how much it's going to slow this down.
You can position the objects in
I'm going to take the bevel depth up. Extrusion depth.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. We don't have a light in the scene, so that's why it's acting weird. Light. And my computer is starting to warm up too. It isn't like that. Where's my light at? There he is. So it's still trying to update this thing so it can see it. Alright, well, doesn't want to play nice, but that's what it should be doing.
Probably just be using it.
Correct.
the 3D program.
Right, an actual 3D program. Alright, so then we can do these like little callouts too, so I can just go and make a shape like this to that. Not that. There we go. And make it solid, scale it down. And then there is another script. I'm pretty sure I don't have that one on here, but it'll actually like line up a 2D item with a 3D item, right? So that as this, it can track where this is moving, so that it stays in that same position. Okay. So then we could animate this thing moving and animating in and out or whatever. Okay. So that's how you can do like little callouts inside of After Effects too, just to have things like pull up and move with it. Before the process was a lot harder. Now it's simply just going to that export, and going into After Effects, making sure the plugin is loaded, and then bringing in that thing. Pretty
Can you
sweet.
move those balls around in there?
You cannot, because they're not 3D anymore. They're just flat 2D objects now. Okay, so even if I took the text and I changed the position and I pulled it down, oops, it's very sensitive because the scale, like I said, is like crazy. So no matter where this is at, it's in front of it because that's where it is inside the scene. If I wanted to go behind it, I would have to do other stuff. Right now, the spheres are transparent behind them, right? So the blue is transparency. So if I just take this and pull it behind the spheres, there, then it'll actually be behind that sphere. Oops. Oh, it's animated, so it just jumped back up. If I do that, though, there we go. So now you can see it's actually behind the spheres, like that. And if I change the color to something better than that, there we go. Okay.
If you wanted it between it, you could do that.
You could. It would just take a different layering process, just like we did like when we did the blip one, and then have it weaving through.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
be a lot more work.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to do stuff like that, it's neat because then you could animate things in. You could take the anchor point is usually the easiest one to animate because your position is already locked in, so you really can't do anything with position. So if you animate the anchor point, then you can pull it off screen, click the keyframe, come in here, reset that to 0, and then you just have this little blip, and then you could have it hold, and then you could have it go back out of screen. Right? You can put it on top of your sequence, and that looks better. Cool. to save that. Okay, so you have that too. So while you're working on your instructional, keep those things in mind that you may want to add that in there if you want something a little bit more fancy than just my item exploding. Okay.